Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Chasing Puck episode 2. Hockey is back. Hope you all had a really good weekend and watched a lot of hockey this weekend because we're back. It's been a great week all around UK hockey, so we're going to look at all the bits and pieces that have happened over the last week or so, really. Obviously, I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched last week's show and has subscribed and liked and sent messages throughout the last week or so. So it's obviously greatly appreciated that you guys take the time out to drop the messages. Obviously, chat's open. I'd love to hear your questions, your thoughts, anything. And throughout the show, we'll obviously ask some questions for you guys to give us your thoughts of your team's week. So obviously, there's been a lot of hockey that has happened in the UK, the Champions Hockey League and everything like that. So I think it's only fair. There's only one place we can really start this week's show. And, I'm not going to apologise for it. All last year, it was a team that gave me so much content, so much enjoyment and so many things for the Chasing the Puck media channels. They had a great season last year and everything like that. They had lots of things that they were doing as a team and everything like that. And, pre-season as well, they've had some great performances, beat European opposition. And obviously there's only one team we can really discuss at this point of time for the first team of the week, and that is Glasgow Clan. Bet you weren't expecting that. No. So obviously Clan started their Challenge Cup this week up in Scotland, a couple of derby days against Fife and Dundee Stars. Unfortunately, it was 2 defeats, really, for the Clan. Obviously, it's been a massive rebuild over the summer. Corey's come in, brought lots of players from Canada, mainly, and obviously the UK. But, I think there was a lot of expectation with relation to what they were going to do after the season they had last year. A lot of people, had expectations for Clan and their performances and finishing where they did in the league and missing out on the playoffs was probably a situation that didn't expect. To bring Corey in, really, really great coach for the UK and the teams in Germany that he has been with, and has a lot of respect within the league more than anything. Obviously, a weekend losing to Fife. Tom Coolin said in Coolin's Corner that he hadn't had a chance to actually see what Clan were about. And they obviously had the successes, really great in pre-season against Solway Sharks, and then they went to Germany for the Warrior Invitational, and they came in. There was obviously some high expectations, really. Fife, with their injuries so far, I think Clan wanted to go in and obviously set a marker. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case, really, for the Clan for their first game of the season. A little bit early that we got the new meme out for Clan. I didn't expect it to happen the first weekend, but you have to adapt more than anything. So, looking at it, 4-3 loss against Fife over the weekend was probably not the start they wanted. The opportunities that they had, a really high scoring game. But they just lost it in the end, really, more than anything, But, don't take away from Fife more than anything, because it's probably one of the teams that quietly I've been looking at as a team that can have a lot of success this season. Not going to do predictions. The last time I did predictions last year, ended up getting engaged. So let's stay away from my predictions from this year. So Clan obviously have that one opening night against Fife away, and then they go to Dundee on Sunday. So obviously regroup, reassess with what they wanted to do, and try and get some points out of the weekend. Split weekend, it kind of takes away from people's perceptions, especially after last season, being in a position where they thought, is this going to be the same old Clan? And it was obviously a massive opportunity, especially after Stars' performance against the Giants, being in a position where they, obviously Stars wanted to bounce back, Clan wanted to bounce back. So it was two teams really that were looking to set a marker with what they could do. And, Lucas Bryan got the opportunity in nets against his old side, making the switch over the summer from Stars to Clan. He got a chance in nets and, Obviously, if you've seen the video online, you know, it's a really great save for Brian, you know, really great performance for him to come in, especially in getting the opportunity. You know, if they're doing a 1A, 1B situation at Clan, good on him, you know, with relation to getting set up in that way. But unfortunately, you know, it was a second result for the Clan where they went down 5-2. So it's very early in the season. You know, no one's going to say that that's the season over after 2 games opening weekend against opposition that, you know, people probably look at on paper that Clan should be beaten with the roster that they've amassed over the summer. But for Clan, I think it's obviously reset, regroup, and be ready for it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of games next couple of weeks, you know, going up against Cardiff Devils next weekend. It's going to be a big test for them. But obviously, with Corey at the helm, he's got a week more with the team. You know, people aren't going to look at it as a situation where people are going to look at them and think, you know, they're an easy path to victory, really, because it's so early in the season. You know, they've really got some top tier players, and once they start firing and start hitting on all cylinders, I think that's going to be a situation where Clan are going to start picking up points. And obviously, the way that Corey plays, you know, his defensive mentality, and obviously the way he sets his team out more than anything, is it's going to be a tough place to play at home. And then obviously they're going to try and get points away from home as well. But, you know, you can't take it away. You know, Fife really did a number on them, Stars as well. They played the team that was in front of them and they got the points they needed, especially with obviously the way that the Challenge Cup is set up in that area where, you know, got to get points where you can, because the other team that they've got to try and take points off is Belfast Giants, which is no mean feat. So let's have a look. So looking at the chat, we've got Karina saying hello, John saying hi, Karina saying oi. Don't saying like it's a bad thing. Obviously, I don't know if that's about Clan losing, but, you know, we can only guess what that is, what she's not happy about, but early days anyway. So looking at the results as well elsewhere within the league over the weekend, was the Dundee Stars. So obviously they got the win on the Sunday, but the performance on Saturday, Mark Lefebvre was really in a position that he wasn't happy. If anyone's actually seen the post-match interview, I think obviously you know, I could say all this, the words there, but he said that the team was horseshit. You know, other than 30 minutes that those guys played during the game early on, he didn't really like that performance. You know, going down 7-3 against Belfast Giants. You know, the way Belfast Giants have got their signings. You know, the returnees that they've got. You know, no Conway at the moment for them, but, you know, they look like a team that they can score. You know, really great netminder as well that they brought in. They've got players that know success. They have players that can really hurt you. And, you know, for a great weekend for the Giants, you know, same as well on Sunday against Fife, you know, finishing 4-2. You know, 4 points opening weekend. And they've obviously set the stall out where they want to be, because looking at it, you know, after last season, we're in a position where, is it too early to obviously say that they're going to be at the top end of the table? They probably will be, but, you know, they only can play against what they played against. And obviously looking at it, Kieran said, you know, Stars played well for the 30 minutes. The rest, we let them dominate, although I don't think it was a 7-3 game. And that's the thing, is that, you know, you don't want to give a team like the Giants too much space, too much time on the puck, because they'll punish you. And that's the thing, you take silly penalties and stuff like that, and the line changes that they can do and the strength they've got in those lines, they can get goals. And, you know, credit to Stars, you know, they're in a really great bounce back against Clan. But having that first game of the season was probably obviously something that, you know, the fans didn't want. You know, the way that they were in pre-season, you know, the way that they've got the signings, you know, obviously players finally coming in a little bit later than they would have planned to get in the training camp and everything as well. They have obviously put themselves in a really good position. Yeah, I mean, obviously Challenge Cup, very early days with everything that's gone on with them. But, you know, I think they've signed really, really well. They've got some really top tier players. And I think they're obviously going to be a team in and around it and causing it. Yes, Cameron Healy is still not here yet. Obviously a player that, obviously, if you look at his photo, thought it was Tim Wallace, but, you know, that's a different conversation for a different day. But, yeah, I mean, for players to come in so late now hopefully he's coming in soon. I know I was seeing an article early in the week where they're saying, he's making his move and he's on the way here. It'd be good, an extra body in the door and a chance for obviously to see how he played. He didn't really get that time at the Steelers, circumstance and everything like that. And obviously he made the move away. But the fact that he's come back to the UK and he's got a chance to show what he can do with the Stars if and when he arrives. I mean, obviously that's the thing, is that he's probably going to need to get up to speed with what he's doing. Tanya, good evening. Missed a little bit about the clan. Hopefully, probably the best that you've just obviously missed that bit, but what can you do? But you can always go back and have a look. So, other team that was really impressive is it was a mixed weekend for. Oh, okay, you caught the tail end. That's absolutely fine. No, always the best bits. So the other games that happened over the weekend was Storm versus Flames. So first game on a Saturday was Storm winning 5-1 in Altrincham against the Flames. Flames are a team that have quietly gone about their business and signed really, really well. And I think a lot of people were kind of expecting, they're a team, is this a team that, will go to the Mind the Gap again? I mean, that was a good couple of summers ago. That had so much fun with that. And obviously, they went from a tail away. But, Flames 5-1 going down. Obviously, I'm sure that people, when I go through the questions in a bit, will probably want to speak about DOPS. And, Storm, they've got Joe Morrow back. They've got Vendniger as well. They've got some very good young Brits as well. And as Aaron Fox says, how do you prepare for a game at Altrincham? You don't. So, I mean, obviously being in a position there, a lot of teams go to Storm rink and, they see how tough it is, how small the ice is and that you can't really play. But, credit to Storm, they utilise the strength that they've got from that home rink to really press on teams and punish them. And I think that obviously goes for the 5-1, really. I mean, really great performance from Storm over the weekend to actually get into a really good position. They've had a really good preseason as well. Got some really top tier talent that's there as well. So I think Storm, Karina, you've said that it might surprise people again. I think they will. I mean, obviously, last year's people's predictions thinking they were going to finish bottom, and now, obviously from the finish that they had last year, they've got a really good chance this year. And I think performance-wise, I think it's going to be a really, really good one to see. Evening, Diane, hi. And then, of course, Tanya, I hate to say it, but I think Fife stay healthy. They could be a shocker. Absolutely true. I mean, that's the thing is with Fife, they recruited well. They've got some good bodies. Outstanding players, Latau, Shane Owen, obviously let's send out congratulations really from him, most appearances for Fife over the weekend, really great. 50 shots faced on there as well. And he's, really good netminder. He's got obviously a lot to do every single night, but when he stands on his head, he can be an absolute pain in the butt. And I've said this, I think Tom Coolan is probably a coach that I would run through a brick wall for. I mean, on a personal level, hearing his stories and everything, his post games are absolutely insightful, a little bit hilarious as well. He mixes that in as well. But he's probably a coach that, you want him to succeed and you want the team to succeed. It's a tough one because, obviously the Fife with the budget and, everyone talks about the Brit situation. And if they get a load of injuries, then obviously they are in a position where they're going to struggle with how many D and how many attackers they've got. And, over the weekend, they had a few players missing for various reasons. And for them to be, getting a result against Clan when I think a lot of people didn't really expect it. I mean, a lot of people probably made the assumption that Clan was going to probably take that one. But, for the Fife fans in the building was rocking from what I've heard. And, the performances from the team was really, really impressive. And I think they're a team that's this year is not here just to make up the numbers. I think they're actually going to be in a position where they actually get a few points on the road and at home as well. And I've been reliably informed that some of the potholes have been filled up in the car park. So obviously, if anyone is driving there, let us know. That'd be greatly appreciated to see if it's actually true. And let's have a look. So going back, Kieran, Storm have the biggest home advantage. So the jury is still out on them. I don't think it'll place fourth, but definitely top 8. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is if you look at the top tier of the year, I mean, looking at the top 3, we'd probably say Steelers, Giants, Devils. Obviously, we're going to go to Panthers in a wee bit. But yeah, there's that little tier there where you can look at Flames, you can look at Storm, probably Fife as well, Blaze. Obviously, we'll come into them in a bit. I mean, obviously, 33 goals in preseason games. Really, really impressive. So we'll have to see with that. Let's have a look. So Karina has said Tom has picked up some players that are cracking in this league. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. I mean, the fact is that, you know, amassing the players that you can get with the budget that they probably have at Fife and getting these players to make the decision to come to Fife is actually really, really exceptional. I mean, if you look at the Conti Cup and the Kazakhstan line being so dangerous it is, you know, they went all the way. They won the Conti Cup, and now their next move is to go to Fife. You know, they're fast, they're skillful. And then, you know, speed like that in this league, if you got someone, obviously, that is playing against an aging team, they're a bit like fridges. You can be in a position that they'll skate past them and then straight in and then capitalise on good hockey plays. I'm seeing on the power play as well, they're obviously going to be really impressive and really, really fast how they're just going to knock teams and knock them out of the park. Owen is too good to have not won lots of trophies. I mean, that's the thing. Obviously, his time with the Giants as well, of course. But he's been in a position where, I mean, if you probably, you know, hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I think Fife fans would probably say and look at it and go, he's probably saved them most nights. You know, there's probably some teams that they've played where they've just been bombarded night after night. And he's saved it from double figures. He just is someone that's just switched on, and when he stands on his head and when he's just performing the way that he does, is he going to obviously have that rotation with Priest being there? We'll have to see how they're going to play that one, but he's one person that you can rely on from the team that obviously if everything's not clicking and everything like that, he's going to face a lot of shots and a lot of, obviously, with a fast team that they are, going to be obviously some one-on-ones and bits and pieces like that. So he's going to be busy this year, but if the team want to go obviously to the higher echelons and get into that top 8, I think they're going to take a lot of points from teams like that, and he's going to be one of those people that's actually going to be there to make the difference. Let's have a look. That line will be dangerous for commentators. As you can tell, I've refrained from saying their names, not out of disrespect. It's out of I don't want to butcher them and this to be screenshotted with me trying to say their names. Obviously, Laura, who does the commentary for Fife, you know, absolutely credit her for her pronunciations. And obviously in the heat of the moment, the speed of the game, to be in a position to say those names so eloquently and correctly, you've got to give them a lot of credit. But obviously a lot of teams are probably going to look at that going forward and just, you know, some commentaries within the league might struggle. You know, they are very difficult names and whatnot. You know, we've seen it. You know, people have butchered people's names, saying Roy instead of War. I've done that in an interview before. And, you know, Tansley, and, you know, bits and pieces like that. Tanya, we're still in Germany. Great place to be, Germany. You've got to love it. But obviously, when they're playing 2 games in Scotland, probably best to be back on the ice back in Scotland rather than in Germany. Let's have a look. I think the league in the whole will be excited. Absolutely agree. There's a lot of teams that have recruited well. Some really, really good players that have come into this league. And, you know, if you're a neutral, I don't know if we can still say neutrals anymore. But we're kind of in a position where, you know, it's going to be a lot of exciting and fun things to watch. So yeah, Tanya, over 40 shots against the Giants. And that's the thing, is a team like the Giants, you're going to be in a position where if they're playing and they're firing on all cylinders, the fact is that, you know, they got through, you know, 4-2. It could have been double figures, but, you know, for Owen being there, didn't get man of the match, which obviously was a bit of a surprise to me, given the circumstances, but we don't pick them. But obviously everyone has their critiques with anything like that. So going back to Flames, second game at the Spectrum, 4-3. If we're honest, you know, looking at the Flames game, you know, losing 5-1 in Altrincham, they had to get a performance to go back to the Leisure Centre to get a result with 6 seconds left. I mean, you've got to remember that, really exciting end-to-end game. Looks like it's going to go into overtime. Obviously, Storm, the circumstances of being stuck in traffic delayed the game. But for them to come out and obviously give it a close encounter game the way they did, absolutely great performances. But with Flames there, in front of the home crowd, a little bit of apprehension. First game, they've signed really well. Tate, Norris coming from Belfast, Walechka, obviously leaving Panthers the way he did and coming back to the league. But definitely, yeah. 6 seconds you'd be ranging. Absolutely agree. If something was 6 seconds, you'd be in a position that you'd be absolutely in trouble. And your thought process, because you obviously half in your mind setting up that we're going to have a little bit of a breather, 3-on-3. Obviously, try and get the winner there or go on to a shootout. But for them to obviously, play to the buzzer, it was a really great play at the end to obviously find the space and get the finish. And, split weekend, two teams that, if we remember Flames over Boxing Day in Altrincham, how that result was a couple of years ago, there've been two teams, obviously, when they play each other, there's been a lot of goals, a little bit of feistiness as well. Obviously, things that we love to see. But, these are teams that going forward, are probably in that bracket of maybe trying to push on to get that top four finish, maybe trying to get a performance in the Challenge Cup, want to cement it and get to that playoff weekend. I know Flames did last year. Obviously, sorry, Flames fans. Obviously, that's another reference to playing Steelers and what happens. But for Storm, they were in a position last year that everyone was kind of like, oh, this could be the year. This could be the year that Storm go to the playoffs and actually could win it. Obviously, didn't turn out that way, the way that they came into the quarterfinals over the two games. But Storm have recruited well. I think obviously they want to push on. Lots of stuff that's happened on the background and stuff like that. And obviously the new rink, hopefully down the line in future. Storm's someone that's going to be looking how well that obviously they want to do. And, a lot of people didn't expect Joe Morrow to come back. And then he's back. But, a couple of players, Critchlow, Chase Harrison, they've got some really, really good top players. And, seeing Harrison obviously getting the A and that Tash. I mean, no offense, look at that Tash. Absolutely amazing. But really good team. Ones that, a lot of people aren't going to want to face this year. And obviously, as Karina says, that we'll be reminding them with banners soon. So Flames go to Panthers at the weekend, and obviously a little bit later down the line there, open there for banner night. So always a nice reminder for the Steelers fans to give to the Flames fans when they go. So I had a plan that I was going to say that the pre-season was the GM Cup and the Aladdin Cup. Panthers, 2 trophies in pre-season, but obviously it wasn't meant to be, with Devils taking the Aladdin Cup, the prestigious Aladdin Cup, as Evan Mosey said. What can you say? I mean, really good first game, Bounds and Bednar. Great performances by both of them on Saturday in Cardiff. Finish in regulation and overtime, one apiece. Shootout, it's a lottery. Really two strong netminders that showed obviously the quality. Obviously, shootout sometimes with the pressure that's on. It's a toughie. Always is. But looking at it, it was a really, really good game for Devils, with their 700 preseason games that they've had. They're in the situation with getting into there, the injuries that they have and amassed, obviously, the last couple of weeks. GB with Pete Russell being over at the Olympic qualifiers, quite a few. They were missing 7 against Steelers the week before. So to come back, really tight game, close game against the Devils. Really good opportunity there, really, to obviously slightly annoying that they probably didn't get the win, the chances they had. But then Sunday, I mean, obviously, if you look at that, comparisons, the performance they had on the Saturday to go to Nottingham, an arena where they haven't had the best of luck in the last couple of years. And for some reason, there's something in Nottingham that the Devils don't quite like, to go there and win 5-1. And it was a great performance, really, from the Devils. I mean, probably a couple of bounces, Rock coming in the way that he did. Obviously, credit to him. I said it last week. to come back in the circumstances, with the thank you rock and everything, to be kind of put in a position where to come back and help for a couple of months when Hunter, the circumstance of him to come back into the UK and get settled in to play, get an opportunity, because obviously looking at it, he's kind of been with the group. He's been in a position where he's not really had time to play. He's been with them. Luke Sheldon's there as well. But, Bednar's had that opportunity, comes in, home crowd, everything like that. Aladdin Cup, as prestigious as it is, wanted to come in. A couple of bouncers that he probably want to get back. Obviously gets pulled to go through. But, that's the thing. You don't know what the summer's like, his preparations or anything like that. To come in, obviously, a team like the Devils that they are, with their attacking prowess. But it's good that he's actually here, getting an opportunity again, especially, good first season for the Panthers. He kind of stepped up to the plate when obviously circumstances meant that he had to play pretty much fully in. Performances wise, week in, week out, because obviously the changes with the netminding position and obviously being left without a second netminder as they did for the latter part of the season. So he did that, he did his service, came to a rapturous applause at the end of the season, and then to obviously come back is really, really impressive for him. So let's have a look. So Spencer is great. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, signing wise, there's people always say, on paper, Panthers have signed great on paper. And obviously Sam Herr coming back, captain as well. But I mean, if you look at the performances, there's been obviously lots ticking through. Danny Stewart coming in, the way the organisation is the last couple of years with the changes, coach after coach coming through. The identity of the Panthers has kind of been in a position where, obviously they've had to chop and change. They've had to obviously not build the identity that they want to do. And that's probably one thing with Danny Stewart at the time now, is to give him time. You're kind of in a position where, you look at Adam Keefe, you look at Aaron Fox, you look at Lord, you look at these coaches that went on to win things, is they've had chance to put their footprint into the team with the ideas, the recruitment, the players that they want to bring in to the actual group. And that's what Panthers need now, is that there's been too long where one person will come in for a year, do very well, and then not stick around. Last year they obviously had some top players that have actually re-signed. Logan, obviously, with the injury before he came out of the last couple of games of last season, he's came back. It's really good to see him back. Ollie's there. Tetz is there as well. Otto is there as well. Sam Herr, obviously not returning because of the years that he had in Germany, but he's back, coming as a captaincy. But they've got War as well. Hembrandt. Is they've got players that can perform. I mean, the biggest concern is that, they played 6 games in pre-season. They've lost 4 and won 2. I think, and goals-wise, they've been conceding quite a lot. They've not been scoring as much as they wanted to. And you've got to look at it, that's we said about Clan earlier in the fan meltdowns, is that Panthers fans are other ones as well with the meltdowns as well. Is one thing that we've always found is that if you're playing a team like Panthers at home or away, is that if, from a fan base point of view, if things aren't going the team's way, the noise kind of just, the mood changes in the arena. And that's the thing that it's tough, because I've thought about this long and hard. Is I was talking about the performances with the Steelers and the fact that Steelers have beat them for years now. And this is different coaches and different personnel. The thing there has changed a lot. But it's that stigma and everything like that. It's that pressure, is that you don't see it in the other rinks and stuff like that. You go to Sheffield and obviously it's kind of a more jovial atmosphere. But sometimes you're just kind of there with, the players are holding the stick a little bit tighter. They're making loose passes. And, you're being in a position where, you're on the power play, someone's taking too many passes, not shooting, and you've got people all around the arena shouting, shoot, booing, moaning, and everything like that, and mooing. Obviously, remember that one. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Panthers have got an opportunity this year to be really, really positive and make a step. Obviously, last year with the circumstance and everything like that, and obviously finishing the season what they did is absolutely commendable. But I think a lot of people now are just wanting to see Panthers, starting to get the win, starting to beat the Steelers, starting to beat the teams higher up in the league. But looking at it, you're in a position where the teams around them as well, they will play a team like Fife and then they will struggle. But it's trying to find that consistency. Once they go on a run and stuff like that and confidence starts to breathe within the group, I think we'll see, obviously, them putting on a run this year, be it Challenge Cup or being in the league. But I think this time they will boo and cheer everything that's going through. There's a lot of, obviously, positivity coming through within the system. And obviously, people have to keep a little bit of faith. You see after the games and stuff like that, social media, where people have thrown in their 2 cents, absolutely fine that they're right to. And obviously, people that are coaches, Twitter coaches, that obviously are saying who you need playing, what needs to play, and obviously changing all the systems and everything like that, are in a position with what they need to do. So let's have a look at that. So Graham, how are you doing, mate? I'm all right. How are you? So obviously that one thing the Elite League needs almost desperately fill is a TV deal. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, that's the thing, is that, obviously Premier Sports is sponsoring the Glasgow Clan. They've said that the highlights packages for the Clan are going to be in a position where they're going to show highlights. They're going to have 3 games covering that, depending on what the games are going to look like, who they're going to bring in, and then being in a position what they're going to do there. We're going to have to see. But yeah, from a league point of view, I mean, the thing that one thing that I've always said in the time that I've done it is being in a position where, teams take it in turns, maybe just to put it on YouTube to grow the sport and obviously do it as a pro rata thing. So one team does it week after week after week to grow the exposure of the game. Looking at some of the deals that, people have said in the past with what they could do is having their own package deals or anything like that. But unfortunately, it's a real tough one because, don't get me wrong, I would love the sport to be on TV more often. It's not. I don't really buy streams. If I'm honest, that's a personal choice. Try and get to the games where I can get to. That's one thing that I try and do. But when you're in a position that streams, depend on the team, looking at it, there's probably high influx of people that will buy a particular stream, particular game. But on a Wednesday night, is someone going to watch Fife versus Dundee or anything like that? It's picking with the rights that they wanted to, is how they actually decide which games or anything like that. But I get it. If there was a streaming service, YouTube kind of version of it like that, you'd be really good to obviously do something like that, show games, show highlights package or anything like that. And if you look at the leagues that social media input that they've got, is that there's a lot of documentaries, there's a lot of in-house interviews and stuff like that. And one of the big things is that obviously if you're a new fan and you haven't been around from the very beginning or anything like that, is that, Panthers is a good example over COVID, is they have lots of classic games on YouTube where you can obviously 4 games, watch them, go back, look what the history is, and be in a position that you can watch those and obviously look at bits and pieces. There's highlight reels, there's hockey fights and everything that you want. But do the league need a deal? Yes, they do. But obviously it needs to be on their terms, because like Karina says, that if wanted to be on, but it would have to pay, you kind of being in a position where, a lot of influx and outfluxes with the cash flows and everything like that, is that you've got the off season, there's raffles, bits and pieces like that. There's a lot of player recruitment, depending on obviously how quickly your recruitment policies are. Housing, accommodation, cars, everything like that. Rink fees is probably another thing that they're going up. There's cost of living crisis, everything's going up. And you're kind of in a position where the sport wants to grow. Absolutely understand that. There is people that do not know hockey exists in this country, which obviously is the bane of my existence, especially at work, but that's a personal thing. You're kind of in a position where a lot of people don't know how's the best way to get eyes on it. It would be great, the Olympics qualifies to be on BBC. Kind of a situation, obviously, I know that you've said about the Premier Sport couldn't even show the last GB game due to tech issues in Denmark, but would people watch it if it was on BBC or Channel 5, Channel 4, ITV? Make sure I grab all the terrestrial channels. Some games might be on Comedy Central, you never know. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, it would be great if it was on there's a package. Looking at the CHL games, they were on every play. Got an opportunity to watch the one on Saturday. And it was actually commentator was that, but the replays and everything like that, absolutely great. The things that they did there, quite clever, quite savvy with what they did. And then it was a decent package, decent price as well. But we're kind of in a position there that a lot of teams are being quite wary with what they want to do. And the thing is, from a cash flow point of view, if you think about it, take a team, for example, is that the money's that's coming from Fife, Dundee Clan or anything like that, or those teams like that, Flames one or a Storm one, the money that they would have to pay or the value that they would need to get a deal compared to the big four, the arena teams there, where they've got thousands coming in through the door, and the prices that they're charging for the streams as well, is do they want to share their cut of the share from a major TV deal, if they did pay, for example, and then be in a position where they had to share the pot with the rest of the group? I mean, using the football analogy like that with the Premier League and the lower grassroots of the Football League, is they're the big ones. They're the ones that people want to see. That's their prerogative in their eye, that their people came to see us. People want to see us. And, difference in prices, £16, £12.50, which obviously I thought was a mistake at the first point that they didn't change and update the prices, but apparently it's staying at £12.50. So that's obviously credit to them to keeping the prices low. And for that, everyone. So perfect. A lot of costs that's coming in, households and stuff like that, depending if you've got, household, mum, dad, whatever variation of that, how many kids all want to watch the game, works out a deal, get a pizza, get a takeaway, stuff like that. Bob's your uncle, rather than, spending. I mean, I looked at going to Fife this weekend. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it, but the prices for myself was hotel room was £120 for the night. Don't drive. So looking at a coach, it was about £20 each way to do that, £10 on a train from Edinburgh to Kirkcaldy, and then I've got to eat, got to drink and stuff like that. So for a stream that's £15 compared to £200 to go for a weekend in Fife, but you can't be the experience of a live game. That's the thing, is you can go, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy that, but it's a lot of difficult things and lots of questions that need to ask. But going back to it, if there was a way that it could appease everyone within the group and the cost of it didn't differentiate the quality of the league and the players that they could bring in, it would actually be great if it was on every single week. Because to be fair, I can happily watch any team, any game, anything like that. Mainly looking for fights, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, a lot of people, if they had the option, if there was an on-demand or anything like that, where you could just flip between the teams within the league as some big package that you could just watch the games as and when you wanted to, and it was a cost that was beneficial to you, beneficial to the league, and they got the money that they needed to continue, I'm all for it. But unfortunately, no one's willing to put that into circulation and in a situation where that would be viable for the guys to agree upon a deal. If that deal comes from somewhere, sign it up, take it. I'll take my money. I'll happily watch it. Let's have a look. So yeah, Phantoms, I did see that, £17.50. The cost for a stream for the national. Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, looking at the prices, I've always said with the prices in a situation like that, with the costs of the rink and all the hire and all the costs of equipment or anything like that, in a cost of living crisis, these prices go up. So yeah, stream is an income that is a choice. The day that it becomes where we need to take a percentage, put all your season ticket prices up, all your merchandise up. Some rinks that if you fully own the rink and you get the full cost of the food and drink prices, but if you're an arena team and you get a small percentage of people through the door and stuff like that, is trying to find money and avenues where you can that doesn't cost the consumer so much. But unfortunately, that no one's going to be truly happy with the exact cost. Everyone wants everything to be a decent price. I've seen it with the food and drink prices in places, you're in there for a good 3 hours. People say, well, don't eat it, don't drink it, have something when you leave the arena. But once you're in that moment and stuff like that, I mean, I know I've been to the arena so many times, and you walk through the door and you're thinking, I'm not going to buy any food or anything like that. And then, me and Karina go past the fish and chip place, and she's like, I want some fish and chips. So it's kind of like that. Now that's easily, 10, 20 quid that comes through. And then 50-50 raffle tickets. You could easily go to a game and then get 40-50 quid out of pocket. And when you compare it to a Stream 1 game and anything like that, it's a very difficult bridge to gap. There we go. So Karina says she does not want fish and chips, all in capitals, apparently. So Panther new fan base, £5 free drink with entrance to away games is brewing. Yes, so Blind Rabbit is the place in town, from what I've seen. The videos that they put in, the chance that they've got a fan park is actually really, really something that's great, getting the fans together. I know Clan have had their, obviously they've got the bits and pieces, they've got the Fisting Zone, they've got the TV watch-alongs and stuff like that. So it's actually really great. Solway did the same last year as well. So teams that obviously get the fan base together, get an opportunity to food and drink and conjugate, because that's the thing, is that, again, with the streams, if there is a deal in place where teams can show the games and actually have the fans there together and obviously make it viable for Blind Rabbit, which is one of the sponsors for the Panthers. And that's the thing, is you're kind of in a position that, you could go to the pub, you could go to any pub and, and watch a game. You can get everyone together. But the fact that there is now companies that are willing to put those games on, and, you can meet up, you can have a group of friends and stuff like that, can eat and drink and everything like that. You're kind of in a position where do it. It's bringing something else to the table where people can see games, because I think that's probably the worst thing, is that for the affordability of, sometimes there's a coach, sometimes obviously traveling, it's very difficult with the affordability. And, if I'm honest, sometimes obviously the trains, cancellations and everything like that, so late in the evening, trying to get back from all hours of the day. And then you're in a position where these people can go watch the games, spend it with people, but actually learn about more of the teams, because when a team plays at home, different circumstances allow, and the different pattern of plays that they do away, is people don't have the opportunity to see that, because obviously if they're staying away from the stream, they're only seeing a highlight package or anything like that. Now they can actually go there, conjugate with people, have group discussions, make friends and everything like that. And it's actually something that's good. They're kind of being savvy enough by doing something different outside the box, which you've got to applaud them for, because a lot of this time that people would probably not watch a game or make a choice between watching a game and not watching a game. So having that option available is really, really good, I think. The new screens against the Giants, Clan being at home, we saw that over the last week or so, where they've added the screens up in Clan, which, in Bray Head, the shopping centre. But yeah, looking at that, they've obviously got those in, got them built up and everything like that. It's all good for the fan experience, obviously with Clan, I know that there's obviously people love the music for the goal horn and everything like that as well. So, speakers, hopefully, that's kind of set up, the screens are on there. And I think Clan have an opportunity to make home games a lot more exciting, a lot more fun. And obviously they've got Clangus. So, I mean, mascot of the year there. Getting a hug from Clangus is probably worth the price of admission all on itself, if you think about it. But it's going to be a good experience for that. And obviously I can't wait to see what the fans' feedback is. Probably be on the bingo card, I'm sure, but we'll see. So let's have a look. So Karina said, not really thought about it as there's no double headers, but we can take a look at the fixtures. So it looks like I'm going up to Glasgow. Nice. 8 double headers. Yeah, that's the thing, is that obviously a lot of people have made their thoughts clear of how the new system for the fixtures have done. I know there's, limited in double headers to Belfast. Some very interesting fixtures, the way that they've done it, and credit to them to bring something new to the table to try and get the fixtures and try and obviously stop travel, bus legs, or other variations of what people say when they're traveling to Scotland and then going to Guildford in the same weekend. So if they're trying to be clever and have a look with that, with the way the fixtures are, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, a little bit of Wednesdays thrown in as well. You're kind of in a position where they've put themselves out there. They've got an idea. If it works, they'll probably take into advisement what people liked and what people didn't like. They'll do a survey at the end of the season, and they'll be in a position where they'll make a decision with what they want to do. But it'd be nice to, obviously, double headers are a great opportunity because then people can make a weekend of it, sightsee, hockey 2 days in a row, plan ahead accordingly, and then obviously all the hotel and airline people will be happy because everyone is congregating to Belfast there and back. Then the prices can go up as bad as an Oasis concert. There you go. Don't like the new system. Weekends is Tuesday and Wednesday. We have one Wednesday game and that's away. And that's the thing is working everything like that and bits and pieces and traveling that people do is, I know that some people do, completely for Wednesday games, if you work in town or anything like that, or there's not minimal travel. But you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the thing is that, an atmosphere as late as a game it is 7:30 and getting back late as you do and not having a game the next day and then traveling or having a hotel for the teams or anything like that. They're a different vibe. They're a different atmosphere on those night games. And, I enjoy them. I think it's a little bit easier for me, if I'm honest. And looking at the hockey when it's the night games, it just has that little different vibe. And do love a vibe. There we go. So we fly to Guildford, Cardiff, and Belfast. Yeah, no, that's probably ideal if you obviously can get the flights and everything like that, and it's a good value with it to do it. And then Dundee and Fife really had half travelling. I mean, obviously with Tom Cullen's thoughts of travelling last season, we're kind of in a position where they did mess it around. A lot of his post-game interviews were in relation to the bus legs and the travelling and stuff like that. So the players fly. Yeah, no, okay, that makes more sense, yeah. So the fact that they're flying, obviously the cost of all the sticks and everything like that as well. But they're not on a bus for hours upon hours, so obviously it makes it a little bit easier for them. And if obviously they can get the decent flights in their close proximity, makes sense to do it, absolutely fine. Our Wednesdays are quite good when they're £10 ones. Yeah, I mean, obviously, try and get people through the door with reduced cost and with reduced pricing. I mean, that's the thing is, some of the smaller rinks and stuff like that, when they sell at full capacity, is that, you want to make sure that obviously you fill the buildings, you get many people in, you want to make sure people that have been going week in, week out, people who don't have season tickets, affordability issues or anything like that, but trying to get those new fans in as well. I mean, looking at it, I mean, Nottingham have Notts County and Notts Forest there, and then Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United. There's a lot of viability for people to try and get there. Cardiff, Cardiff City, and obviously Glasgow, with the teams that they've got. There is a lot where you've got to try and get people's attention and try and get people through the door. I mean, looking at cricket last year, when I went to a few cricket games in Nottingham, there's advertisement for Panthers there, credit where credit's due, trying to get people through the door. Love your sport, go and do it and try and do it that way. So going back to the fixtures from the weekend, Coventry Blaze, a really great weekend. A lot of people have said that they were a team that might be in the lower echelons of the league with their signings, a lot of youngsters, a lot of unproven people within the ranks, but, they've had a really great pre-season. It's finished, obviously, with the Capitals over the weekend, obviously say, the work and the money that they were raising for the circumstances that it was really, obviously, really beneficial for them to try and do that. I mean, some really great games. Saturday, 5-2. Was a really impressive score. And, they've been getting a lot of goals, same with MK as well. Sunday, 12-0 against the Capitals, 11 different goal scorers. It's a testament to the league and the Blaze for, obviously doing the circumstance they're doing, playing the right way. Kevin Moore, what can you say about Kevin Moore? Obviously from last year, the opportunity now to be head coach for the Blaze. He's obviously put a little bit of a roster together that's, fast, young, got a little bit of muscle, a little bit of stick in there as well. And, Coventry's not one of those places that a lot of teams like to go. And the atmosphere, Papa John's, you got to love some Papa John's when you're there. I think they're going to be a team that, it's going to be interesting to see when they come against some of the certain teams, how they play and what they're going to do. Or it's going to be in a position where, is that youthfulness going to be in a position where they're going to struggle? We're kind of there, Zach Vanel is there, he's got success on the board, being part of the last year, obviously clan favourite as well. Sorry, Tanya. I can name him. It's fine. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, two guys, finding their way, coaching. Can he play? Can he not play? We'll have to see if there's any injuries or anything like that. If he comes back on the ice, maybe against Clan, who knows? But yeah, we're kind of in the position there where great preseason, 33 goals over there. Looks like it's going to be some highly entertaining games, and for a team that last year was obviously the most for overtime games, I think obviously they're going to try and finish it early, but if you score 5, we'll score 6. If that's the way they're going to go about it, might be a really good seat and really good place to watch in Coventry. So I'm just trying to think, is there any other teams that I've missed? Let's have a look. So I did Fife, I did Clan, I did Stars, I did Giants, I did Storm, I did Flames, I did Devils, I did Panthers, did Blaze. That's 9 teams in the Elite League. Right, who else played this weekend? Yes, sorry. My bad. So yeah, Sheffield Steelers. Forgot about them. How could I forget? No, really great performance. Champions hockey. Freiburg on Thursday, taking 2-goal lead. Getting Freiburg to do a timeout so early within the game. It's something that, I think Steelers fans could only dream of. The start, really great. Obviously, they peg it back, take a lead. And then obviously as the game goes on, the second and third period, it's very tight. It's very situation, within the CHL rules, for the team to actually be in a position where they had chances. That's the thing is, to go to Switzerland, team that you're playing, obviously Steelers aren't there to make up the numbers. They give a really hard working performance, down the line. Nice standout play as well on Thursday. Nothing to be ashamed of. Of course, a few people took the opportunity to say that obviously it wasn't a performance like the Giants or a performance like the Panthers years ago. But, Steelers fans were really excited. They had a good couple of minutes there where obviously they were in dreamland with the start that they had. Kind of in a position where they didn't look out of place. I think that's probably the best way to say it, is that, the team that they've got, the returnees from the Sheffield Steelers. Sorry, I have to say that. I've been legally obliged in this household that I have to say that every time I say them. But yeah, I mean, what can you say? First game, did really well. Opportunity there. And obviously the excitement of the fans to obviously then go to Sweden against the Lakers. So I have to apologise. I'm partly deaf in one ear after the results, after Valorant scored the overtime. But yeah, I mean, great. I thought I was watching the repeat performance because Steelers took the lead again early on in the game. And, they played really, really well. I mean, obviously, Dowdy's interference call as well was obviously something that was an interesting one to watch. And obviously seeing the game live in real time, got a chance to watch the entirety of the game this time today. I was kind of in a position that, you're watching them, they're kind of playing really, really well. And, to get to overtime against a team like the Lakers and, they played better 5-on-5. They were probably in a situation where they could have won it in regulation. They had the chances, Greenfield, Tansy is an absolute brick wall. Here comes the boom. And, if you've seen the video, check it out. If you haven't, it's absolutely, a great hit. And, what can you say? They obviously the fans were in loud voice throughout in Sweden. And, they go to overtime, 50-50 chance, playing really, really well. A couple of chances for Lakers going through. But yeah, it's Valorant. If you like pina colada, you get an overtime goal. But, the celebrations there, for the history making that Steelers have done to obviously get the win that they did on Saturday. it was actually nice to see social media. The normal situation is that, there'll be the few people that, said that they supported the Lakers since the morning of the game. And obviously we're all Lakers here, or, we're all anyone but Steelers or anything like that. But from the UK hockey point of view, to have a team that obviously is winning, same with Giants, please don't obviously say that, this is just this year, but seeing the Giants last couple of years and how close they came to obviously getting into the next round and being the second team to obviously get to the second round of the CHL after the Panthers, nearly did it. Can Steelers do it? Probably won't hear the end of it if they do, but they did really, really well. And now, for all the reward of everything they did last year and what they've done this pre-season and how they performed in the 2 games, their fans now have the opportunity on Friday to see them against Sparta Prague and then again on Sunday. So they're in a position where they're going to enjoy the moment. I haven't seen the CHL game. I will be there on Friday. So it'll be interesting to see what the atmosphere is like and how they play in front of the home crowd, seeing the jerseys and everything like that. And I think it's going to be a really good testament for UK hockey, and they have put themselves in a position where they've earned it. Last year, they've recruited well, and now they're in a position where they're going to try and add to the win that they took on Saturday and try and build upon that to get more wins at home with home advantage. But it's going to be really 2 tough games. I mean, every game in CHL is going to be tough for them. But they haven't looked out of place yet. And I feel like this might be the year that they is a second team that goes into the last 16. But I don't do predictions. I said this before, said it again. Don't take it literally if I say that. If it does happen, it does happen. If it doesn't, please don't remind me. It'll be absolutely fine if you don't. So, what everyone that's doing on the chat there is, I just want you guys to throw your player of the weekend. It'd be really good to obviously hear you guys who stood out for you, for either your team, another team, random player name. Try and not use any of those players' name like The Simpsons, where I have to say IP freely or anything like that. I would rather not do that. But yeah, if you want to go throw in your player of the weekend, it'd be nice to see. So we got Tansy purely for that one tweet. I'm just trying to think which tweet that might be. Was it the one where it says buy tickets, looking really, really angry at you to buy tickets to sell out? There we go. And we've got Hembrandt as well. We've got Jack. Tansy should be knighted. I mean, the Jack tweet. Yeah, obviously now. Yeah, I remember now. Sorry, there's so many tweets that I have to remember nowadays. But don't bookmark them because people will remember. But yeah, I mean, the situation, it's a really great hit. The guy's not skating past him at the end of the day. He obviously needed to do what he needed to do. Really, really clever play. And obviously hit it right, hit it good. No call from the ref. Shouldn't be. And in a position that he did there. There we got Quinn. Yeah, brilliant character in Bleeds Orange. He does. And that's the thing is, he's obviously seen him at the playoff final, the way he was with the crowd in his celebrations with LFG and signing a contract with his hand, and obviously not an actual contract, but the fact he was there signing to give the fans something that they wanted to see at the playoff final, and then obviously having the 2-year deal that he's got. And that's the thing, is that a lot of time there's a lot of change and chopping and changing within teams and groups going forward. But the fact is that they've brought someone, he's got the character, the fans love him, and he's here for the next couple of years. And he was a brick wall. He's one of the players that came out the game in the CHL, looking at it for the 2 games as well. And I'm sure he'll be a big person this weekend as well that makes all the difference. And when the Challenge Cup starts and when the league starts, I think he's obviously going to be a player that's going to build upon his first season successes. And obviously when they announce or anything like that, I'm sure that, there'll be an A definitely on his jersey. He's our favourite. I mean, there is that. Even though Bams told me I was a Steeler. That's a different conversation. There we go. So we've got the players of the week. Now, let's fling it out and say who's the team of the week. Who's the team that excited you more? Or the most for the weekend? There we go. So let's talk hockey. UK said Storm. Obviously, not sure if you caught the earlier bits, but yeah, obviously really great performance. 5-1 against the Flames. Obviously, really unlucky. 4-3, losing with 6 seconds to go. But obviously, you can always go back. But really impressed with Storm. The recruitment's really well, really good performances that they've had, and I think obviously they're going to be a really good team to beat. Let's have a look. So Tony said not us. So Clan are out of the running. Steelers, Ovs. It's always going to be them. Storm again. So 2 for Storm. Really nice. And then Brian for save of the week, though. Yeah, obviously looking at that save, his reaction, didn't know exactly where it was, complete instinct and stuff like that. Takes out his own player after the end of it as well. I'm not sure if it was Lacko. Kind of in a position there where really good save. I think he's really good. Perfect hair as well. Great. So perfect hair, perfect tash, great save. There you go. And then we've got 2. Oh, we've got another Steelers. So it's 2 for 2, Storm versus Steelers. So obviously, unless there's anybody else, it looks like. Oh, okay, now. Just at the last minute, 3 for the Steelers. So that means that Steelers' performances in the CHL take the proverbial biscuit as team of the week. Oh, yeah, it's only 3 Steelers. So, yeah, it's a complete landslide for the Steelers, but everyone else did well. Obviously, don't take in consideration, win the Aladdin Cup. Obviously, no one said Devils, but, really good testament there to win the Aladdin Cup over the weekend. Storm, of course, well. And 5. Really good weekend. And, of course, the Giants as well. No one mentioned the Giants, but, double the wins, lots of goals and everything like that. So, it's been a really good week. So, all being well, questions are a wee bit drying up. But Karina says, but Stephen. There you go. Ryan Bernard's going to goal. Yeah, no, absolutely true. Bernard is going to be really good. The Aladdin Cup Disney Matter. If you say it in a Scottish accent, it actually sounds better. But yeah, that's the thing is, you can only play with the trophies. Got to win all trophies that are available, and Devils did that. So obviously they've only got 3 more to go. Yeah, absolutely true. Obviously great signings that they've done. Continuation there, progression of the Storm. Looking up for the Storm, and obviously the way that they're playing, it's going to be a really good season for them, the Storm this year. Obviously, great little rink that they've got. The way that they play, they can obviously stifle teams as a way that they want to do. And I think obviously they're going to make some great inroads away from home as well. They've got obviously a big opportunity to do. Obviously after last year, that obviously everyone's predictions, including the commentators' predictions about being so low in the league, to finish 4th, and obviously now have an opportunity to obviously push on, try and make that playoff berth, get to the playoff weekend in Nottingham. I think it's very viable and very possible that we'll see Storm do that this year. But as I keep saying, my predictions are absolutely shocking, so don't take that one there. I'm being diplomatic about the rink. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. And I'm sure where your view is, you can see everything that you want to. The last time I was there, I was in a seat where the rail was, so I didn't see much, so I had to keep wandering around. But that's fine. But yeah, obviously, if there's no other questions, we'll call this a miss. And then obviously that's week number 1. And if I don't get cancelled, we'll have episode 3 next Monday live on YouTube. Okay, if the Storm owners say that it's bad, obviously, hopefully in the next couple of years, a new rink, if it comes into the future, would actually be absolutely perfect and obviously be really good if they get one. But if that's everything, thank you everyone for joining into the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And there should be some interviews coming up in the next few weeks, just going through. The final bit's to obviously get them over and get them on the dotted line so I can speak to them over the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye on the YouTube channel for that. If you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, great. If you don't, give us a go, see what happens. But thank you very much for your evening and your time with us, and hope to see you again soon.